Priyanka Upadhyay. Let's begin with the main stories. Government starts prosecuting businesses imposing transport syndicate. 6 preparators arrested from Bhaktapur. Government tightens grip nationwide. Parliamentarians strive to draw budget to their respective constituencies, infringing on the government's jurisdiction. Experts say this violates the norms of constitution and federalism. Thousands of people flee fighting between the army and ethnic Kachin rebels in Myanmar's northernmost state. 4,000 people driven from their homes since early April. And Chelsea chalks out a clinical 1-0 win over Swansea in the English Premier League, keeps hopes alive for the top 4 finish. Government has started taking actions against transport businesses that have resorted to disrupt the government's attempt to break the transport syndicate. Police have taken 6 people from Bhaktapur into custody, while the Home Ministry has tightened its monitoring elsewhere. Police have taken Bhaktapur Minibus Service Committee's Joint Treasurer Badri Koju and Secretary Prakash Basnet into custody for trying to halt public transportation. Police say they had threatened other transport businesses as well to stop operating their vehicles. Likewise, police had taken several other officials of the same committee attempting to disrupt transport into custody yesterday, including the committee's former chairman Ramkaji Bhozu, along with Gyanendra Maharjan and Hari Sundar Shakha, among others. The Superintendent of Police of Bhaktapur, Kiran Rana, has said that they would get these preparators to sign an agreement to not indulge in such activities again. A legal case would be filed against them in case they are again found to be carrying out activities to disrupt public transportation. Chief District Officer for Bhaktapur, Drone Prasad Pokhrel, has said that the government would show zero tolerance against anyone supporting syndicate and activities carried out to discourage fair competition. Let's now move on to the national political updates. It is the duty of the government to live up to the public's expectations for development. However, despite formation of governments and responsible bodies at the federal, provincial and local levels, the parliamentarians seem to be racing to draw budget to the constituencies they have been elected from. This type of interference is not only against the nation's constitution, but federalism itself. This is, however, not a new phenomenon in the national politics. Every year prior to budget announcements, parliamentarians have been seen trying their best to get hold of budget in the name of special programs for infrastructure and overall development of their respective constituencies. This comes in contrast to the real duty of parliamentarians. The major responsibility of parliamentarians is to support information of plans and policies according to the Constitution, monitoring of development activities and formation of laws to support development. The role of parliamentarians is even more crucial now that the country has adopted federalism. However, parliamentarians interfering in the executive's jurisdiction has weakened the entire government mechanism, rendering the prospect of good governance at bay. Now, the Central Committee meeting of Nepali Congress has been rendered uncertain due to the dispute on writing the meeting's decision. The meeting that started on the 23rd of March was slated to conclude yesterday. Yesterday's meeting, however, failed to convene due to differences between the party leadership and the camp affiliated with senior leader Ramchandra Paudel. Both the sides were at loggerheads on whether or not to mention the term self-criticism pertaining to assessments of the party's performance in the election. They were also disputed over fixing the date of the next General Committee meeting. The meeting has largely been mired in the intra-party blame game from the beginning. And it's now time for a short break. For more news, stay with us. Welcome back. Minister for Physical Infrastructure and Transportation Raghubir Mahaset has said that the government has initiated groundwork to complete construction of railways linking both China and India. Talking to Kantipur television, Minister Mahasaid claimed that Nepal would establish railway linkage with both the countries within the next 5 years. He said that the DPR for the railway to China will be completed in a year's time and that the works on the railway network from India's Jayanagar to Nepal's Simara have been expedited. Meanwhile, a 7-member team deployed by the Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transportation left for China yesterday, to carry out a comprehensive study of the proposed railway with the northern neighbor. It's not a new discovery that a majority of tobacco products in the market are tax-evaded products. The nexus between government officials and businessmen has caused a significant backlash in the government's revenue collection. There aren't many shops across the country that do have colorful packages of tobacco products in display. Consumers are also very well aware of the grave effects tobacco products have on one's health. Majority of tobacco consumers spend huge amount of money due to health issues caused by consuming tobacco products. Due to its negative health impacts, the government has levied heavier excise duties on custom charges on tobacco products. However, businessmen have been evading the 30% customs duty, 13% value-added tax and excise duty of 462 rupees per kilogram of tobacco product by illegally importing these products. Sellers have themselves admitted that these products have illicitly been imported from India. Likewise, there are no excise duty tags on tobacco products produced by the domestic manufacturers. Despite the loss in revenue due to the nexus between government officials and businessmen, the government has remained largely apathic over the issue as of yet. Now, in this context, we had asked the residents of Chapa and Birganj what should be done to control the illegal import of tobacco products. In our Public Voice segment, let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
खुला तरिकाले ल्याएको छ यसलाई रोक्नको लागि प्रशासन डर भएर लाग्नुपर्छ
छुर्ती जान्ने पदार्थ जो छ त्यो नेपालमा अहिले पनि चोर बाटो भएर नेपाल भित्रिरहेको छ र नेपालको प्रत्येक पसलमा प्रत्येक दोकानमा यो सामानहरू पाइरहेको छ
अवैध हिसाबले राजस्व नतिरिकन भन्सार नतिरिकन जुन नेपालमा भित्रिने परम्परा छ यसले अर्बौं रुपैयाँको राजस्व छली गरिरहेको छ
जुनै पाए त्यही दोकानमा पनि सुर्तीजन्य पदार्थ बेचिनु भएन यसको लागि लाइसेन्सको सुविधा गराइदिनु पर्यो स्थानीय तहले
It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Your question: what's your take on parliamentarians racing to grab budget to develop their election constituencies? Your options are A, desire for development, B, interference in executives' work, and C, motive to feed carters. The voting for the question is on. You can type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 8080 to share your opinions with us. Now, the second International Buddhist Conference has kicked off in Lumbini yesterday. The conference intends to spread the message of peace and harmony across the world and promote tourism in Lumbini. Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation Rabindra Adhikari inaugurated the two-day event. The conference saw the participation of archaeologists, historians, Buddhist gurus and scholars from 24 nations. This is the first such kind of conference to be held in Lumbini. Previous conferences being held in Kathmandu, the conference is to issue Lumbini Declaration on its final day today. With this, it's now time for the international update. Thousands of people have fled renewed fighting between the army and ethnic Kachin rebels in Myanmar's northernmost state. Some 4,000 people have been driven from their homes since early April, according to the UN. It comes as a long-standing conflict between the Kachin Independence Organization and government troops escalates. The military is said to be pounding the rebels with airstrikes and artillery. As well as the thousands displaced, there are fears that many people remain trapped in conflict-stricken areas near the border with China. Aid organizations have urged the government to allow them access. In addition to Rohingya crisis in western Myanmar, the country's north has seen clashes involving other ethnic minorities. Across Kachin, the northern Shah state, an estimated 120,000 people are displaced by the fighting. The Kachin, who are mostly Christian, have fought for greater autonomy in this predominantly Buddhist nation since 1961. Now, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping have agreed to strengthen communications and maintain peace along the border following the conclusion of a two-day informal summit held in central Chinese city of Wuhan. The two leaders underscored the importance of maintaining peace and tranquility in all the areas of India-China border region in the larger interest of the overall development of bilateral relations, according to a statement issued by the Indian Foreign Ministry. Billed as an informal summit rather than a more traditional state visit, the meeting has been interpreted as an attempt to reset relations and rebuild trust between the two neighboring nuclear powers. The meeting comes less than 2 years after the two countries became locked in a tense 72-day military stand last summer in the disputed border region of the India-China-Bhutan tri-junction. The incident was the latest in a long-running series of territorial flare-ups between the two nuclear-powered neighbors. In 1962, China and India engaged in a bloody border war, and skirmishes have continued to break out sporadically in the decades since. Other long-time sore points between the two governments include China's ardent backing of Pakistan, India's arch rival, and New Delhi's sheltering of the Dalai Lama, the exiled Tibetan spiritual leader whom Beijing considers a separatist traitor. We have more news coming up, but right now we'll take yet another short break.
Sports news.
Defeated Swansea City 1-0 in the English Premier League match played last night. With the win, Chelsea has kept the hopes alive for the top 4 finish. In the match played in Swansea's home ground, Chelsea took the lead in the 4th minute. Cesc Fabregas scored for Antonio Conte's men with assistance with Eden Hazard. Fabregas is the 3rd Spanish player with a record of 50 goals in the Premier League match, behind Fernando Torres and Diego Costa. Chelsea has 66 points from 35 matches and is placed 5th in the league table. This has also created a pressure on the 4th place Tottenham Hotspurs, which has 67 points from 34 matches. Meanwhile, Swansea is just a spot ahead of Southampton, which is in relegation zone. Placed 17th in the table, Swansea has 33 points, while the 18th place Southampton has 32 points. In another match played last night, Southampton blanked Bournemouth 2-0. World number 1 Rafael Nadal has progressed to the finals of Barcelona Open tennis. Nadal has set up the final clash against Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece. Nadal defeated world number 10 David Goffin in straight sets 6-4, 6-2, 6-0 to storm into the 11th tournament finale. This is Nadal's 400th win in the clay court. World number 1 Nadal has won all the matches played in Barcelona till date. In another semi-finals played last night, Tsitsipas showcased an excellent tennis against Spanish player Pablo Carreno Busta, defeating him 7-5, 6-3. The 19-year-old Tsitsipas is the first Greek player to reach the finals of ATP Tour since 1973. Likewise, he has also set the record of being the youngest player to reach the finals of Barcelona Open. Now, the selection of karate players for the Asian Games ASEAN to be held in Indonesia has been finalized after sorting out the prolonged dispute between the two different federations. The federations that had earlier selected separate set of players have now jointly come up with the names of 8 karate players for the competition. 4 among them are men and 4 women for the games to be held in the Indonesian capital, Jakarta. The final term selected by both the federations comprises Tribhuvan Army's Parshuram Bastola and Chanchala Dhanuwar from Nepal Police for single kata category. Parshuram defeated Mandekazi Shrestha of Nepal Police, while Chanchala got better of APF's Sarita Shrestha to secure their berths in the competition. Likewise, under 50 kg category, Anu Adhikari of Armed Police Force and under 55 to 61 kg, Sunita Maharjan of Nepal Police made it to the final list. Maharjan defeated Balaji Academy's Ekta Rai during the selection. Similarly, Army's Rita Karki defeated Balau Academy's Anupama Magar under 68 kg category to get selected for the Asian Games. Nepal will be contesting in 27 different sporting events in the game to begin from the 18th of August in Indonesia. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Government starts prosecuting businesses imposing transport syndicate. 6 preparators arrested from Bhaktapur. Government tightens grip nationwide. Parliamentarians strive to draw budget to their respective constituencies, infringing on the government's jurisdiction. Experts say this violates the norms of constitution and federalism. Thousands of people flee fighting between the army and ethnic Kachin rebels in Myanmar's northernmost state. 4,000 people driven from their homes since early April. And Chelsea chalks out a clinical 1-0 win over Swansea in the English Premier League. Keeps hopes alive for the top 4 finish. That's all for the moment. Our next bulletin will air at 11 a.m. Keep watching Kantipur TV HD for more news and entertainment. Have a great day.